Hey everybody, it's the Thursday before my spring break starts. Just for you guys, I am staying here after class to give y'all a little tour. You guys are in for a treat today. I'm sure many of you already know that I'm actually a college student, and in this video I'm going to give you a little tour of the Advanced Technology Center at Central Piedmont Community College. I have two classes in this building because I am enrolled in a computer engineering technology program. And basically, when I go inside, I'm going to give you a quick little tour of the first and second floors. The first floor is just machine technologies. The second floor is just a computer lab. And the third floor will actually give you a full tour. That's where my classes are actually located. And before I go inside, I'm just going to give you a little view around. This is the CPCC Central Campus in Charlotte, North Carolina. Okay, that being said, let's go and take that tour. Here's a look inside the building. This is the Machine Technologies lab. I'm actually going to go inside, give you a little view inside there. None of my classes are in here, that's why I'm not going inside here. This is the Dlp Engineering Technology Center. I'll go in and pan back just a little bit. Feel free to read if you want to. Pause now to view the first part. And go ahead and pause to view the rest of it. Okay. So basically this is the Dlp Engineering Technology Center. As you see, there's a lot of offerings here. Many of them are from Duke Energy. I'm still zoomed in. Okay. Excuse the camera shake. This camera does not have image stabilization. Normally you don't see this issue in most of my videos because I'm usually just taking videos on my desk. And of course these are just offices and all that kind of stuff. Now I'm going to go up to the second floor. And of course if I had machine classes I would give you a tour, but here's one more look. Pretty interesting stuff. Now, on the second floor of this building, it's just a large computer lab, nothing too special. But on the third floor is the Electronics, Electrical, and Computer Engineering Technology lab. And of course some classrooms up there too. I currently have AC circuit analysis and digital electronics up there. But before we go up, let's go and have a look at this. Those of you who watch my Bike Geek MTDX channel know that I'm really into cycling. And when I saw this, something I wouldn't mind having for myself. Have a look at this. This is a homemade version of a velomobile. Of course, it's all aluminum. Got some pretty decent components here. Got disc brakes up front. Pedals are way up there. It's very neat. But now let's go upstairs. I'll take the stairs this time. I'm trying to be as still as possible with the camera. There's some more posters. Feel free to read if you want. I'll go ahead and zoom in a little bit. Just pause where necessary. There's a Mechatronics poster, and this talks about service learning for a certain class. More machining courses, obviously. There's your look outside. And up to the second floor we go. Of course, there's nothing special here. It's just a computer lab. Of course, as are known here as student technology centers. This is actually the Business and Information Systems Center. So feel free to read if you want to read it. And notice here the second poster that we've seen about CPCC being a leader, national leader in workforce development. That's the second poster already. And of course, I'll try to get you a view of that computer lab, but there are students in there and nothing too special in there. It's just computers and all that kind of stuff. And on each floor there's just a row of classrooms, nothing too special. And on up to the third floor. This is where I'm going to give you guys a tour of the Electrical, Electronics, and Computer Engineering Technologies lab. Of course, here are some more posters. I'll go ahead and get you a good view of them. Feel free to read if you want. I'll go ahead and zoom in and pause wherever necessary. Here's another poster. Now, on up to the third floor. Down this way we have some classrooms and offices. Down here we have the lab. And each floor of this building has a lot of posters. Here's the poster about electronics, Digiac trainer. Another poster for the DFT 170 course. I'll tell you, there's a lot of interesting stuff here. And have a look outside here. It's a good view from this big window. There's the old crap building, which they are planning on demolishing and replacing within a year or so. That's one of CPCC's original buildings from the early 1970s. And the lab is currently empty. Good. Let's have a look in here. Now, this stuff here I've never messed with before, so I can't really answer your questions about it. Some of you might already know. Feel free to comment. And I'll go ahead and get you a view of all this stuff. We got a lot of robotics and stuff here. More robots. There's another robotic arm over there. There's a computer over here. Obviously, the computer controls it. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in here. It's amazing. This school is nationally recognized for some of this equipment. They actually get national funding for some of this stuff. close-up of some of the stuff. Now, of course, I have no clue what some of this stuff does. Obviously, it's something to do with water, because see, there's a water filter, and notice all these tanks have water in them. The stuff in this lab will amaze you. I'm going to stand back a little bit, get you a better view here. Now, have a look at this. Got a parallel hook up there. This is really interesting. Of course, there are some computers. Got more of these. And each one seems to have its own individual task. That one says ASRS. That one says sorting. This one says distribution. And now it says processing. There's one of my classrooms. That's actually where my digital electronics class meets, in 301A. And here's another very sophisticated piece of equipment here that we have no idea what the heck it does. Obviously it has something to do with air pressure. And I've actually got to see one of these machines in operation before. I forget which one it was. It was pretty interesting to watch. I think it has to do with air, or has to do with water. Probably air in this setup. Though not 100% sure. I'm going to stand back a little bit, get you a good view. Very interesting stuff here. There's a cabinet. I'm assuming one of these boxes are like programmable logic controllers, at least what's in them. Like this Allen Bradley stuff. There's a power supply, I do believe. Look at the size of that capacitor on that thing. We have some components here. We have some Ethernet cables here. And have a look at this. It's like a like what you see at the grocery store, or what you would see on an assembly line. Big old belt that just runs around the entire, runs like a whole track. Goes all the way around. And have a look at this right here. I'm gonna squeeze by here. Here's some interesting stuff. Now, of course, I'm carrying a laptop and a book bag on me, so just bear with me. They have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these. The first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. Now, let's go and walk over this way. There's your, appears to be some sort of air compressor. Not your standard air compressor. It's obviously tailored for the this machinery. Some really interesting stuff. And it seems like Allen Bradley seems to dominate most of the machinery on this side of the lab. And look here. I'm going to pan back with you a good view of that side of the lab. Very interesting. And here is the electronics side of the lab. And as I mentioned, the equipment in this place is extreme. especially over there, but of course over here they got some nice stuff too. Look at these multimeters. Here's your oscilloscope. And here is a special little camera. You place your breadboard under here, and it projects it up onto the board over here. There's actually not a screen here for some reason. Let's go ahead and look around. And of course, most of my labs for my courses take place on this side of the lab. We got a computer here. Got this BK Precision triple output DC power supply. That is brand new. They just got these this semester. Got this HP 34401A multimeter. Very advanced multimeter. Does frequency, ohms, DC volts, AC volts. Very sophisticated piece of equipment. We have a National Instruments Elvis prototype board, breadboard. I use this a lot in my digital electronics class. And we have a Sun OS-22105, or actually better yet, OS-22105 100 megahertz oscilloscope. And if you haven't seen an oscilloscope before, it's very advanced, but it doesn't take long to get used to using. These aren't really all that spectacular if you compare it to some of the other ones out there. It's only 100 megahertz, but it does a job for what this school needs. And there is the Dlp projector that actually projects the image of the circuits onto the board over there. Notice it's a Dlp. Kind of reminds you of that TV I just had to replace a Dlp chip in. And of course, every lab table is pretty much the same in terms of the equipment. And when you start doing a lab, you have to come over here and get your cables. These cables here work with the multimeters. The new power supplies actually come with cables already attached. Here we have some power cords. We have some leads for oscilloscopes. It's got the probe and the ground wire all in one. And here are the leads for the function generator I never mentioned about. We'll go have a look at that in just a minute. And of course, here's that function generator. You can use these to do a lot of oscilloscope activities. You can measure the waveforms. This one puts out sawtooth, sine wave, square wave, and many others. Just going to keep looking around here. I'm going to try to make this last part pretty quick, but I'm going to try to get y'all a good view of everything here, because I am ready to get out of here, because I'm going to be having to deal with some traffic. And of course, one of the lab assistants sits here. Got some nice equipment here. Got a nice solder station, all that kind of stuff. And I forgot to show you guys this. And I'm not exactly sure if I'm right on this, but I believe this is the same kind of robot arm that is used in the manufacturing of microprocessors. Of course, your wafer will be sitting about there. And this one here, this robotic arm will be responsible for assisting in the manufacturing of chips and stuff. Here's your little air compressor and a few other things here. Now back over to here. And of course, when we have lab assignments, all the DC circuit analysis folks will be mainly right here in this area with the resistors. This place has so many resistors of all sorts of values. Now of course, many of these resistors have had it pretty rough. There have been a few times where students have burned up resistors in this class, and some of them are I've actually had a few resistors that were so far out of tolerance it was crazy. Here we have some more resistors, inductors, and gates, and all that kind of stuff. Here's an LCR meter. This is a Leader LCR-745. And down here is where a lot of the digital electronics students will be coming to. Of course, they'll be using resistors sometimes too in some of the labs. And these are your basic ICs. Like for example, the 7404 is a hex inverter. It has 6 inverter gates in it. All sorts of different things over here. And here is the other portion of the lab, which I'll come back to in just a minute. And of course, we all need something to put all those resistors and capacitors, inductors, and everything else on. So this is a cabinet that has the breadboards, the logic probes, the jumper wires, everything you need. More equipment here. There's another classroom. These are the old power supplies that used to be over there. They got moved over here. And of course, those BK Precision power supplies are much better for their intended uses on that side of the lab. Here's a high voltage output power supply. It can do up to 300 volts DC. And the students actually use this today in a lab assignment where we actually measured the sine wave. Well, not actually the sine wave, but it's the wave outputs of an oscillator circuit that has a neon lamp and stuff on it. Pretty interesting stuff. There's our friend Mr. Security Camera. Of course, there's another one of those cameras that views the breadboard. So anyways, one more look here. I'm going to walk back over here and get you a good view. And if you're in the Charlotte area or anywhere near Mecklenburg County and you're looking for a good school to go to or to start out at, you might want to consider Central Piedmont Community College. I mean, look at this lab. It is wonderful, and the tuition here is not that bad either when you compare it to other schools in the area. And this school has so many programs that you can transfer to other universities, or you can graduate from here with an associate's. There's one final look here. And this concludes my tour of the labs in the Advanced Technology Center. Just going to have one more look out here. Just look at all that traffic out there. That is rush hour traffic in the afternoon in Charlotte. I have so much to be looking forward to right now. Anyways, that concludes my video tour of the Advanced Technology Center at CPCC. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to ask, and thanks for watching.